Ask to unmute. Sure. Boom. Yeah. I can hear you. I don't know if I see you. Do you see me? Cool. Later. Thank you. I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of fun sounding audio. There you are. Looking all spiffy with your Dragon Ball Z curls. Good. I just really like that I hear Mario in the background. Like, I didn't know this was clearance free, but like, nobody can deny Mario's music. Like, all of their songs hit. Like, if they had Chance the Rapper rapping on a Mario beat, like, I'd listen to it. I kid you not, like, one of me and my sister's pastimes is literally just playing Mario together on our shared Super Nintendo. And one of the first games we had was Super Mario World and Super Mario All-Stars.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Did you ever play Super Mario All-Stars? Like, do you know about that one?
Yeah. But this is the best one, I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh, also, psych, I've been recently starting every stream with this. Hold on, wait a second.
If you wanna clap,
This is the start of every stream recently.
here we go. Performance for you. If you know the words,
I can barely hear it.
join in too. Put your hands together. If you wanna clap, as we take you through this
What is this?
funky rap.
You gotta go to the stream.
I just, like, since I added, why do I have to log in?
Finally back.
It's actually kind of funny. So I'm discovering all the things people have been doing on the computer in the studio, right? By like logging into a bunch of things that I use. So I saw like Marcus was on like streaming, and I'm like, oh, cool. I hope he was streaming out of Studio A. There we go. Okay. Go to the stream. You see. Okay. DK mixes. Bam. Mute the audio. Oh my God. I like how you've been starting with the Donkey Kong rap.
She can go through the air and climb up trees. If you choose her, you'll not choose wrong. With a skip and a hop, she's one cool car. He has no style, he has no grace.
There you go.
She's one cool con.
Anyway, let's start. Let's talk. What do we want to talk about today?
No, man. I guess the importance of having backups. I'm literally going through that right now.
Of having what? Backups?
Yeah. Making sure that you have system backups, that you have backup cables at a show. Just, I guess the idea of preparation is one. Just because I'm actively having to deal with it. I don't know, that's one.
He's the first member of the DK crew.
All right. That's enough of that.
Hey, it's Obscure Asian.
Yeah, that's Machi.
Yeah,
Hello,
I
Machi.
know.
Hello, Machi. Machi always comes into the stream for like 2 minutes just to say hi and then immediately leaves. So the reason why I'm playing Nintendo music is because it's free. As in, like, there's no DMCA copyright with video game music.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
So video game music is technically...
Well, I mean, that would make sense, right? Because, like, people's trying to stream video games and they keep getting DMCA copyright for it.
I mean, that would make total sense, of course, yeah. I guess I never put 2 and 2 together for that one. Like, I probably should have a long time ago.
So this is a good one. Let me set up for the session today.
Nintendo background sound for the Wii.
I'm just setting up a track right now. Oh. I don't know. Do you like my screensaver, by the way, the new one?
Yeah, Kirby just floating in the water. I think I remember when you bought that.
Super cute, huh?
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I was going through, so I found what I like to call a suspicious thumb drive in my car, but I knew it was mine. But in that suspicious drive, there is a lightning connection, meaning that you can connect it directly to your phone. And I assumed I probably backed up something that I didn't want to lose, but I also didn't want to keep on my phone. And sure enough, it was way more innocent than I thought. There was like not one thing I wanted to hide, just things I definitely didn't want to lose. And I forgot that a friend of mine was actually making animations of people, and he made an animation of me. So he took this photo of me, this thing right here. I don't know if it'll focus or not. No. There you go. Kind of. Right? And he made this.
Nice.
Yeah. And it was kind of funny. Like, I started finding these, and I'm like, oh, shit. I forgot that my friend was doing these, and I had made it as, like, my profile picture and everything. Like, I want to say, like, a year or two before the pandemic.
Ah.
Yeah. But it was nice to see that this mysterious thumb drive wasn't as dubious as I might have thought it might be.
I get it. All right, let's so you were talking about backups?
Yeah, or I guess just being preventatively prepared.
Okay.
Like, like I do live sound and stuff, so that's very true in live sound in the sense that, like, oh, okay, cool. Like, if the band's about to go on, you definitely want to hold on to like 358s, 357s, a few extra stands, a few extra cables in case like a stand were to accidentally break in the middle of the set, like somebody mishandled it or moved it around and broke one of the legs or something. Maybe a mic fell on the ground and suddenly doesn't work, so you have to swap the mic real quick. Maybe a cable was stepped on and cooled something or whatever, But in this case, for me, it was my computer died. And I had to turn in 5 songs the next day. So I literally had no room for downtime. And I had to run a concert the next day. So having the computer in Studio A was actually kind of the best case scenario, but that's because it was a clone of my main system.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
We could talk about backing up. We've talked about hard drive before.
We can also talk about, it's kind of funny, I talked to Andrew today about something we talked about last week, which was multiple income sources, and I talked to him and showed him about Sound Better and how I use it. I know we've talked about that too before with, I believe wait, what's his name also, Andrew? Wait a minute. What was his name? We interviewed him, and he's pretty busy on Fiverr. Why am I blanking on his name?
Oh man, not Brandon, not Brian, not Usher.
No, not Brandon. No.
What's his name? Eric.
There we go. Yeah, and it was kind of cool. Like, it was kind of on that. Like, I've noticed people right now, like, especially as we're going into the slow season, I guess part of the preventative preparation is like making sure you have a savings, how to actually save a certain amount, or what are some good practices to make sure that you can last long.
Yeah. Hold on. Just to answer the question, I'm trying to answer the question for Gavin.
Oh, no worries.
Uh,
He has a bote de basura.
yes. Yes. Okay, so let's get into. Okay, so sorry, I'm still like listening to this sort of stuff here. Yes. Hold on.
Now I'm answering it too.
What about you, Lou?
First.
Actually, you could probably just. Yeah, which ones are you talking about? Are you talking about?
So I actually have two computers. The one that took the dive, and it wasn't like it broke or anything. It was there was corruption in the temp folder that caused everything. So the whole operating system is kind of affected by that. But basically, that one is a 5.2 gigahertz processor, independently synced on 16 cores. So it's 5.2 static, not overclocked or average. And then it's 64 gigs of RAM of DDR4 with a RX 570 or a 580 graphics card.
Is this the Bryson one?
Yeah, it's basically I have a computer built for crypto mining, essentially.
Wait, what's the graphics card?
RX 570 or 580. It was the one that went up to $2,000 during the pandemic, the one that everybody wanted. For some reason, I'll be honest, I'm not.
I have one of those.
So I have no idea.
Well, mine's not like mine's. How many gigs of memory on your graphics card? Do you know?
I think it's 8. I
Nice.
think.
You can.
I'm gonna be honest.
You
Like
can game
I
on
know.
it. You have an AMD.
No, I
graphics
could.
card.
I tried, but I guess Mac operating systems don't do so well with gaming platforms.
God, no, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you have the graphics card for, you might be able to. You can download Fortnite on Mac.
So the cool thing is because it's a Bryson built computer, I can technically choose Linux, PC, or Mac, and keep it all on the same CPU at the same time, and just boot up at different ones. Like I'm talking to Bryson now that he's picking this one up today. He's actually on his way to the studio right now to pick up the computer. I told him I may actually get a graphics card update, and I may add Elgato's PCIe capture cards because they can do 120 FPS 4K resolution. Which is overkill, but like I'm just kind of thinking like if I'm gonna add something physically to the computer, I would want something that lasts 10 years.
Yeah. So to
Yeah.
answer your question, Lou has a custom Hackintosh made by the same dude that makes everybody else's Hackintosh: Bob Horn, Dave Pinsado,
Ken Lewis,
Ken
mixed by
Lewis,
Ali.
mixed by yeah, like all these
Yeah.
big engineers is the same like Hackintosh guy. His name is Bryson. So if you
Yeah.
want to hook up to him, you could talk to Lou. I personally I trust Bryson a lot, but for the reasons that we now know is the reason why I don't do Hackintosh. I'll do either Mac or Windows, and I haven't had a Windows in honestly like 5-6 years. So this is my first one I've had in a while. I'm thinking about moving, and the way that I've got like booted up too, I'm trying. The only reason why I don't want to switch completely to Windows is because of like the stuff that's built in, for example, like Logic and Final Cut. Like I use Logic from time to time, and I use Final Cut like all the time. So
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me, I lost Final Cut now.
although Gavin, my next computer is going to be, and it's already better than it is the Mac Studio for like $2,000 brand new without even updating everything is just phenomenal.
I'm not gonna lie, I know 10 people that I've talked to. Everybody that's bought one for like an actual studio has told me that they wish they could return it, that it was too late before they realized how low it was performing compared to the trash can.
That the trash can performs better?
The trash can is performing better. And there's like there's great reviews from a lot of people, but like the people I'm talking to are like, yo, like if I would want this thing to perform like for a big session or do all kinds of things, I got to see it side by side for myself. A 1-to-1 test, 12 core, 64 gigs of RAM, same specs except for the graphics card, right? And obviously that one was clocking higher. We loaded up Sound Toys on 256 channels of audio, and it filled the first row, and with no audio playing, it was already like spiking out at like 20% average CPU usage, while in the trash can it was still at like 5%. But then once you got to tracking audio and adding more, it immediately started crapping out. And I know that's not really the benchmark for performance, but you know how it is. Like, we're going to load up plugins and all that. So if it can't handle the plugins on their own with no recorded audio, then what is it going to do with recorded audio?
That's interesting, because I've also heard a lot of good things about the new Mac Studio.
It's kind of like a love-hate thing that I'm seeing going on right now.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because it's so new. Maybe because it's so new, it hasn't like fully adapted to everything on the market.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah, the only reason why I want to, dude, I'm so close switching to Windows. I guess I could switch to like DaVinci Resolve for like audio, video editing stuff, but I'm not a video editor to begin with. I don't want to deal.
Couldn't you do Adobe?
Yeah, no. Well, yes, but it's like expensive. Like, I'm not trying to pay $50 a month to edit a couple videos.
Oh yeah, I really don't like that you can't just get specific, softwares. Like, they have you get everything, huh?
Yeah, I think. Let me look it up. I don't like their business model, honestly. Ever since they changed.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of subscription-only models. Like, who else is like that right now? Pro Tools has moved on to that, which I'm not a fan of. I really don't like how Pro Tools made it like perpetuals disappeared. I would have been perfectly fine.
Dude, I was paying $10 a month for Pro Tools, but now I'm paying like $30.
Wait, yours changed? It shouldn't have changed.
I know. I should call in.
Yeah, you should, because on the studio account, because mine is paid by the studio, because I pay for the HD in the main room. Mm-hmm. My HD license price didn't change, even though they updated it. And on the studio account, whenever I see the Avid charge, we're still getting charged $10.
Crazy. Oh. Let me look. Buy now. Yeah, Premiere Pro by itself is $20 a month. By itself.
Yeah. I'm paying half that for Pro Tools. And Pro Tools makes me money.
You're paying $10 for Pro Tools?
Well, the studio is.
That's crazy. We used to be paying $10 for Pro Tools.
That's what I'm saying. It shouldn't have changed on you. Like, I still pay $70 a month for HD, even though HD has now been updated to 90. And because I was paying for it for we were paying for my home computer to have basic Pro Tools for me to edit from home.
Yeah.
And we were only paying $10 for that, and that hasn't changed either. So you should definitely give them a call.
Yeah, I might after the stream. It's annoying. It's only $20 a month, but it's like, yo, what are you doing?
Like, stop that.
Yeah, please stop. And Logic is like you buy once and it's free forever, so.
Yeah, and you can install it on just about any computer you buy.
Who's Grant Purdue?
Grant
I don't
Purdue?
remember who
Grant You don't know the Purdue man?
I'm not familiar.
I
may not be familiar. Anyway, let's record this episode. Let's talk about something.
Sure. Honestly speaking,
you want to talk about? You want to do like a plugin update? Some of your favorite plugins you've been using recently?
Yeah, that sounds cool. I have Pro Tools in front of me. I can take a look at some of what I got going on. Ooh,
yeah,
like
give me a second. Give me a second to look at what I got too, cause.
Yeah. Oh, it's really funny. I made a comment to my sister about her baby belly.
Mm-hmm.
That just made me laugh. Like, cause I forgot. Like, like I don't necessarily look at like my sisters or anybody I know when they're pregnant and like stare at their belly or anything. But because it was the baby shower yesterday, obviously the baby is the focal point of the whole thing. So it was kind of funny. I took a picture of my sister while she was like with her friends kind of enjoying herself. Like, I took my camera and took some good stills and everything. And then at one point, like, I just noticed that like her belly looked like it was making like a duck face.
Yeah.
I kid you not, I never laughed so hard at something so stupid.
I think I know what I'm going to talk about. What are you going to talk about?
Honestly, it's going to sound kind of atypical, but I'm going to talk about like the basic ones that I use almost every mastering session. Just because, me, I'm all about big changes with little moves, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, I gotta update sound theory on this one again. I guess I'm gonna talk about Autotune and my favorite version of Autotune and why.
Ooh, I'm gonna talk about Neural DSP. I've been using that recently.
Ooh, I'm curious to hear this because I haven't used their stuff. That's the company that does the guitar amps, right? Yeah.
Probably talk about Kiev, and Invisible Limiter.
Invisible Limiter has made it to my list a lot lately.
Been using Voice of God again a lot.
Dude, isn't Voice of God amazing? Like, I don't care what anybody says that they're like, oh, there's no saturation from it. It's like it wasn't meant to be.
I haven't used it in a while, and okay, I'm ready to start recording. You ready?
I am ready.
Okay, give me a second. I'm starting the soundtrack from the beginning. All right, from the top, I'm recording.
Make it drop.
Oh, Schneigie's Batman. Hold on, let me mute that. And mute these. Okay, I'm ready.
All right.
You good?
Yeah, I'm recording in Pro Tools.
Can you give me permission to record?
Oh yeah, totally. Let me
I think wait.
Yeah, you go to participants, click on DK, more, allow record, bam. Pro Tools back.
Recording in progress.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
Alrighty. I'm gonna let's sync up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hello and welcome back to the Mixing Music Podcast. I'm your host DK, and with me, as always, is my lovely co-host Looby Lou.
I'm not gonna lie, Jonah today was asking me, he was like, do you think he'll ever use Lululemons?
Lululemon Lulu.
Call Lou.
Anyway, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the podcast. Right now, we are on Twitch streaming right now. These live streams are also available on YouTube, all of which is available from mixingmusicpodcast.com. But anyway, today is a very special episode. We do these about once a quarter, maybe once every half a year or so, maybe every other quarter or so. Lou and I like to go over plugins that we're using because people tend to really like that for some reason. So we're going to go over plugins that we've been using and digging for the past, as of recent. So, and there are various different uses. I know that Lou's going to talk about plugins he's been using for mastering. I'm going to talk about plugins I've been using in general. But Lou, tell me a little bit about some of your favorite plugins that you've been using recently.
Sure. I've been using a combination of like the cleanest plugins I can find and also some of the obviously subtle plugins that I can find for harmonic change and like how they will benefit a track or not, because I'm kind of having to think about like the overall track versus like an individual source nowadays. Not even nowadays, I still do a lot of mixing, but I also want to see like, some of the plugins that I use in mixing don't really translate well to mastering and vice versa. One of which, I don't know if we're cool to start this, but basically the Studer A800. It's kind of a funny, either you do too much or you do too little with it, but it makes a big difference even with the minimalistic moves that you make.
Honestly, that's one of my favorite tape plugins.
Yeah, like I like Oxide a lot. I like the ATR, but the Studer just has this way of cleaning out the boxy mids. There's this kind of like special depth that you get out of it, and I really like it for things like, aside from the master bus, like for drums and things like that. But if you're ever looking to add a little bit of top end sheen without actually boosting the top end, throw the Studer on and kind of tweak a little bit of the EQ settings and kind of play around with the different tape heads, and you'll notice that it also distorts differently depending on the tape, depending on the headroom level that you give it and everything. And it's kind of nice. I actually have a preset that I like to call Lou's Master Love, which is like literally like a hair touch, but you hear it right away. Once you bypass it, it's like it's not supposed to make that big of a difference, but it sounds like the track opened up. Like wherever you had it last set, it's not that it got brighter or bassier or anything. It sounds like some of the masking has been removed.
Yeah, I do like that one. That one in conjunction with the ATR, I think are like the only two tape machines that like, that's my end game. Like that's it. Although I have not had either of them in a very long time. Recently, as far as tapes goes, I've been digging a lot from the company Kive, Kiive. We're good friends with the owner there, and I love these plugins. I got 2 beta testing right now. I think you're trying them as well, maybe. But anyway, going back to
I don't think I am.
Going to these back to these UAD ones, I love those. The Oxide is cool, but it like adds a lot of low end. But those two are really, really great to like keep it. It's much more subtle and nuanced, which is like perfect for like mixing and mastering stuff.
Yeah.
I love the way those feel. Those are some of my favorites too.
Yeah. So what do you like? What do you like from Kive? What's going on there?
So I've been beta testing these two. They've got the first off, they've got the the ARG1 limiter in beta mode, which sounds amazing. I used it on a live. I mixed a whole song from scratch on live stream, like last week, and I used it on like the drum bus, and that sounded really, really sweet. Kind of like glued everything together in classic, in classic ARG1 fashion. And then the second one that I've been beta testing for them is the Extressor, which is the Distressor clone. It's really cool.
I saw about this.
It's got a variable saturation knob and warmth thing, which is like saturation, but it like dulls out the top end. So it's like it actually like it's almost like a very sleek analog distortion low pass kind of a thing.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm really interested to pull out the Distressor and hear this side by side.
Yeah,
because the Distressor does not have that.
Yeah, it's really cool actually, especially for vocals that are like really, really harsh, or anything that's like really harsh in like the 10K and up range. But as far as like before we go on to like plugins that people can actually access,
yeah.
I'm working. The cool thing is, I don't know. Did I give it to you? If not, I should give it to you.
You have not.
We're working on a plugin right now. I'm working on a plugin right now. That's going to be released under the In the Mix Studios, In the Mix brand, if I'm not mistaken. And it's called Vocal Lift. It's like a really nice airband lift, but with like a tight notch for not de-essing, but like for like really crappy, like 8 to 11K.
Yeah.
7 to 11K always gets really, really harsh, so it kind of like does airband, but it does something special with that range. And people have seen me use it a few times again on my live stream, but that's going to be available hopefully soon. We're working on graphic design. If anybody's familiar with a graphic designer that can work on that, we have someone. Justin's working on it with us right now, but he's just so busy that it might just be easier if we have someone else do it.
Yeah,
but
totally get that. Yeah.
As far as like ones that are available, have you been using the Tilt by Mixland?
So I hate to say that I have not. I have been using the rubber band, but I haven't used the Tilt.
How do you like the rubber band?
I actually like it, but I like it more for percussive items. I do like it on vocals here and there, but I like it more for like ad-libs, because part of the rubber band is almost like it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's essentially emulating serial compression, which
it's a VCA into a VCA or something like that.
Exactly. So like I would love a little more control on the second side or the second stage of compression. But with that said, for drums, I could slap it on and get it to hit like an API 2500 once in a while. Like I think we're both in agreement about this, like about the API 2500 from Waves hitting just a little bit harder with the transients poking out. But I get that kind of feel out of the rubber band, and I really like it.
That's true. That's one thing that Lou and we've talked about. We like, for some reason, we're not a big fan of Waves, except for the 2500.
Yeah.
Which just some reason, I like the tonal thing that happens. It's kind of got this mid-scoop sound thing that I really like, actually.
Like, I like it for, like, snare pop.
Yeah.
Like, I just want that snare to just, like, not hurt, but I kind of want it to hurt my ear a little.
Yeah, I do like that one a lot. I've recently been using like custom skins for these Wave stuff. So you like open up the package contents and like replace different things. There's a dude who has a Patreon where you can donate money and you get custom skin packages. So like my CLA 76, CLA 2A, CLA 3A, the Puig Tex, the Fairchild, the Kramer tape, my Shep 73 and Shep's Omni channel all look way different and objectively way better too.
I'm not gonna lie, but I wouldn't mind paying him to make me a custom graphic for just one plugin
with your face
and that
on
way
it or
whenever
something.
I pull it up, just like it's like my eyes and you're twisting my eyes around or something. You
That's
like when you flick the switch, it's like you're putting a booger up my nose or something. Like
just change the interface completely.
Yeah, it's just a comedic graphic that works. And think about it, like I'm just saying, like, how fun would it be to like just have a plugin that's a silly plugin? Like, what if you wanted it to be Kirby and every time you hit a switch, he turns into a different power from Smash?
Yeah. That's super interesting, but you totally could. It's really, there's a whole process to reskin it, but you can just keep the same algorithm for the plugin, just change the graphic interface. I don't know how, but you can figure it out. Anyway, another plugin that I've been digging recently, Lou, is Neural DSP. Are you familiar with them?
Yeah, so they make the amp emulations that are actually pretty gnarly close to like an actual tone for an amp.
Dude, they sound great. I tried out the Tim Henson one, which was phenomenal and cool.
Yeah,
on its own.
the one that you told me about before.
Yeah, it's aesthetically pleasing, but the one that I kept and bought was the Corey Wong one.
Okay, so the different stages of clean.
I have to. Well, yeah, it can get a little bit dirtier. It's not metal, but think like Fender kind of stuff.
Yeah, Fender dirty. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all I really need for the stuff that I do. Because I don't know about you, but when I'm mixing, I love to like reamp. That was me doing that in quotes if you're not watching the video.
Yeah.
But like kind of using a different amp or changing the emulation a little bit and the tones a little bit. I like to do that quite often for guitars when I'm mixing them. Instead of doing an EQ, I want to change the sound of the distortion.
Like, I kid you not, I do that too, which is kind of why, like, as you know, like I have the amp and stuff.
Hold on. You backed up a little bit too far away. What did you say?
Oh,
you have amps in the
room.
room.
I have like the 2 Rock and the Orange Cab, and I really like that combo for like clean, darker tones. Because a lot of times when I'm dealing with like rhythm guitars, I actually like darker tones to sit in the back so that everything else brighter feels like it's a little more forward. And I actually really like reamping if I get a DI. It's whenever I have somebody else's tone, I'll try to like beef it up with saturation and stuff like that. But it's only because like I've been in the hot seat as like the engineer that's talking to another guitarist, and vice versa. I've been the guitarist talking to an engineer about tone, and I know that some people get very particular about their tone needs. So, I'm always trying to figure out like, okay, I want to retain the tone that they had. I just want to spruce it up a little. But once in a while, when I get a DI, I'm like, okay, cool. Let me play with this DI a bit.
Yeah, that's true. I like having both. Did we do an episode about... Oh, no, I think it was part of the exclusive content, which, by the way, this episode is brought to you by the Mixing Music Podcast, specifically the exclusive content. We have, if you like the podcast episode, we have 3 times the amount of content. So we release the episode every Tuesday, but if you'd like to have an episode every Wednesday and Thursday as well, that is strictly, what is the word? Technical. Yeah, there you go. Technical how-tos and jargon and blah, 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 blah. Then visit mixingmusiccpodcast.com/exclusive for $4 a month or $40 a year. You get 3 times the amount of episode, and what we do is we pull clips from other YouTube channels or videos, and we talk about what Dave Pensato said, and we break it down even further and tell you how you can implement it. And we give people challenges and homework every episode. We have people sign up every single week. I'm actually going to pull up the Excel sheet of all the names that signed up recently, maybe for the next episode. But there's a bunch of people that have been signing up. Go ahead and do that. Once again, that's mixingmusicpodcast.com/exclusive. So anyway, Neural DSP, love that stuff. Lou, what's another one you've been using a lot recently?
Give me a type of plugin, and I could probably tell you.
Limiters. Have you been using the same limiters for a while?
Ooh. Okay.
By the way, yes. I'm gonna say like for mix bus or like master bus.
So for master bus and for mix bus, I use 2 different, but they work in series. So I use invisible limiter from my mix bus, and I use L2 from FabFilter, not Waves, for the final mastering. Reason being is I actually like to use clipping as well in between the two, and I kind of use it in like 3 stages of kind of like trying to not necessarily shave off as much of the transient, but trying to push the volume as loud as I can get it without changing the mix too much. So I actually use the invisible limiter with suppressed and clipping turned off. I believe it's called like pass through. I forget what the actual setting is called. That's not clipping or suppressing the bleed over the limiting. But essentially, I'll let it do enough of the limiting to where the preservation of the mix is still there. Like, the invisible limiter, you can push it to like 4, 5, 6 decibels and it's still pretty invisible. Like once you get to 8, you definitely start hearing it. But I'll use that, and I won't have it suppress or clip the peaks that are coming through. I'll use Fire the Clip from Acoustica to actually stay in between those two. So
is that Fire the Clip the clipping plugin that goes to like 192 times oversampled or something like that?
Yes, which is like, why the hell does anybody need it? Like, I'll be honest, I listened to the X16 stage, and you do kind of hear it, but I'm gonna be honest, like, it's more of a technical reason that you'd ever want to do that, not even necessarily an audible reason.
Yeah.
Like, there's some audibility to it, but not enough for you to need to buy, 256 gigs of RAM to run it.
I mean, just from working with my other business partner doing building this plugin, I mean, the ability, just being able to create the code that does 190 times oversampling or whatever it is just insane. That's just a big flex.
It really is. But it's also a waste of processing.
I know.
I use that in between. I'll maybe clip like 1 decibel at most. I'm usually doing like point something increments, but after that I'll do like final loudness and kind of shaping of final transients with the L2. And that's pretty much it. So like realistically, like as far as limiters go, like it's been the same too, with an addition of the Fire the Clip in the middle. Yeah. And I get really good results with it. It's very clean. It's not over compressed or too much. Like low end isn't suffering because of it. And that's what I'm really liking about it.
Yeah. I also like clipping a lot. I typically use the Sir clip, like the standard clip Sir Tools or whatever, which is, I think it's only like $20-$25, and everybody should get that one. That's a cool one. It kind of adds this really gritty upper mid-range bite to everything. So that's the one where Dave Pensado was using it Into the Layer. What is it? Into the Dungeon? Into the Layer episode?
No, Into the Layer.
In the Layer or whatever. And then that's when he says clipping is more of an art form that you feel than it is any sort of technical. So it's like you just got to feel it out. That's where I get that quote from. Is from that episode where he's using that clipper. And then also the Massey Golden Soft Clipper.
Oh my God, yeah. I remember you recommended that one to me, and I've been using it for a long time since.
Yeah, that one's got like a little bit of a darker soft clipping tone, which is really, really great. As far as Invisible Limiter, which is by AOM Factory, we use version 1. I really like that too. I have certain specific settings on my limiter that I really like. I think I use the clipping one, and I just use it right before like my second to last limiter, so I'll just do those back to back with. And then the second one after that is my Oxford limiter. But I really, really like the sound of the Invisible. It's got a little bit of a tone. It's not super clean and totally invisible like it claims, but like it's a really good one. And it's very usable, very musical, which is the most important part for me is focusing on musicality. I like that one a lot.
Honestly, speaking of the Oxford limiter, I still use that one, but I don't use it as a limiter, which is kind of like a weird way of using it.
Really? How do you mean?
Yeah, I don't engage, boost, or cut anything unless I use the enhance curve. And I use it between like a range of like 5% to like 15%. And then I'll compensate the output from there. Cause it does push it a little bit louder. But it does something really nice in the upper mids that like, I can't really pinpoint what exactly it is. It's kind of like a sister plugin to inflator. You know what I mean? But if you use inflator and that in conjunction with each other, it does something really nice. Not
Yeah.
always the best bet, but you know, it's a really cool tool built into a limiter.
Are you using any sort of new compressors recently for like vocals or anything?
Yes, actually, it's not really new, but I love the sound of Verimuse. They're my favorite compressors. They're slow, but they're fast. They're somewhere in the middle. You can go hard with them and you can't go hard with them. Like they're like Verimuse from Manly. I use it a lot for music, but I can't use it for vocals as much. But the one that I have been using a lot lately that has kind of taken over the role of the Verimuse is El Rey from Acoustica. And I'm actually really liking it because it's one of those compressors that after about 2 decibels, 3 decibels of reduction, you do start to hear it, but there's some magic happening where it's similar to like what I was talking about. What plugin was it? The Studio A800, where that one's good at cleaning up the boxy mids. The El Rey is really good at taking away nasally tones and vocals. So if you have a nasally vocalist, try out the El Rey from Acoustica and only really shoot for like a decibel or 2. I'm not saying that you can't do more, you should do less or whatever, but honestly speaking, once you get to that like 2 decibels of reduction, you start hearing like that moving nasally tone really be the first one that it reacts to.
Yeah, that El Rey by Acoustica. It's like an expensive compressor for a single compressor plugin. What is it, like $300?
Yeah.
And it's expensive, but I've heard so many good things about it. I meant to download
honest,
the
I
trial
got it on
for
sale for $120.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. That's a great price. And then I've meant to download the demo multiple times, but I just haven't yet. My favorite, I think I talked about this in the last episode where we talked about plugins, but I've been using Magic Death Eye still. Really love that. It makes it really dark and warm. I really like that a lot. Also, not on vocals, but in general, I still love and use to this day all the time Volf Compressor by Goodhertz.
Yep.
That's such a fun compressor. You get so many different tones out of it. It's more than just compression. It's like a tone shaper, and I just love it so much. Goodhertz has a bunch of different plugins that I really, really enjoy.
Yeah. No, one of the plugins that I've been getting into, honestly, if I'm going the EQ route, right, like kind of shifting away from compression and limiting, honestly, I don't know if you've tried the Harrison stuff from UAD.
Oh, yeah, I have.
Yeah, the top end makes me long for the hardware in a sense that, like, if I could track on the way in with that kind of top end, I'd be so happy. And the way I can move the mid-range around so fluidly is what's got me impressed by it. Like, I like the fact that it doesn't feel like a typical bell curve boost. It feels musical. It feels like it affects the surrounding frequencies in a way that I don't hear in every EQ, which has led to me using it on a master bus in the past. I don't always throw it on the master bus, but there's something special that it does, and I can't really figure it out. Like, I don't know if you've seen me do this. Like, when I try to figure out a plugin, I'll do the whole pink noise, run it in, and then run it into Pro Q3 so I can see what it's doing, and I'll shift the settings to really kind of find out where it's affecting, if it's like actually 80 hertz or if it's slightly above or below, whatever. It doesn't ultimately matter, but I'm always curious enough to check. And there's a weirdness about it where, like, it doesn't look like a regular bell. It doesn't look flattened at the top where like the octave slew rate is different or anything. It's weird, and I like weird. I'm a weird guy. I like weird things.
Yeah. As far as like EQs for me, I've been using that tilt that we were talking about earlier, Mixslam.
Yeah.
That 1K boost, that 1K shelf is really, really dope. The free Coral one, the Coral Baxter from Acoustica is really great. I use that every once in a while. That's not crazy. Obviously, anything from Mog, EQ4,
yeah.
the Magnum, is that what it is? The one that I use a lot?
Yeah, Magnum K.
Magnum K, I think is really, really great. I use the Amic a lot.
Yeah.
On the Amic mastering equalizer. Let's see. You know what sounds really great, surprisingly, is the overdone 1073 EQ. But Kush Audio, they have their 500 series emulated into a plugin called Electra or like something like that. It sounds really good, actually.
Yeah.
I never thought that I'd say like any other 1073 like it matters at all, but that sounded really, really good. I do like that a lot.
Have you tried their Omega stuff?
Yeah, for saturation and various different things.
Have you actually heard it on one of their preamps though?
No, I have not.
It's really good. Now, this is what I like about it. I talked to one of the guys over there and I asked him like, hey, similar issue question that I had for Slate. I have a question for you. And he's like, all right, shoot. I'm like, what if I ran a distressor after the preamp and then the emulation? Like, is it as intended or is it not? And instead of giving me a runaround answer, he's like, yes, because we're not trying to emulate the transients or anything. The preamp is handling all that on the way in. And if you decide to change the transient, that's great. But we're only focused on the saturation. We're not telling you you're getting the same preamp. We're just giving you the same tonality, and it works really well with this preamp. And that was really nice to get a straight answer from the company, and they know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly how they're targeting it. And because of that, he even told me, he's like, you'd be surprised what those plugins sound like without the preamp. I was like,
I've seen Bob use them all the time too, and during mixing, and I use them every once in a while.
So I used to have the Dangerous Music 2-bus LT. I think it's the 16-channel single rack space summing mixer. And you know, everybody always knew that was like a clean box. It wasn't like super tonal or anything. But what I used to do is I would actually put the Omega plugins on the outputs. And I would actually choose kind of like grouped distortions, if that makes sense. Like I always wanted my drums to hit with a API because I always wanted that bottom thick transient. I always wanted my guitars and bass to glue a little better, so I'd put like the 1073 on it. And then I think they had, what was it? It was the RCA emulation, I believe, that they had, wasn't it?
Yeah, they have a few. I don't know what they're all for. They have like nicknames, so you can't really tell.
Yeah.
Other than the knob design is different too for each one.
Yeah, but they sound so good. Like they're really good for like shaping tones in your mixes.
Which, talking about this is not plug-in, but something that I've heard recently multiple times now is that in Nashville, people like to put a pair of preamps on their mix bus. Yeah. So like they'll be completely in the box, and then they'll just go through a set of preamps, not even for the EQ, but just for the saturation of the preamps to try to kind of glue it together and give it kind of instead of summing is to push it through some preamps. I know we have a bunch of preamps at home, or not at home, in the studio. I'm curious to bring a couple mixes over and just trying that out and see what different tones we can get, because we have a bunch of different preamps in the studio. And if it sounds good, you know what I'm interested in trying is Warm Audio has the Tone Beast, which not only you can swap out the capacitors and take in and out the transformers and change out the style of transformer with the different like nickel and steel, whatever it is too, and the impedance. Like there's so many different options. Like I want to get a pair of those if it works. If it seems like a good possible thing, I want to get a pair of those and see if I can get a good tone out of those. And because that might be interesting instead of like some sort of like a summing bus or summing mixer. But anyway, let's see. I kid you not, the Aurora that we have in Studio A, that's what I used to do with it. Because I don't know if you know, but there is no separated mic or line input. It's all one. And like a classic 1073, you can set the input stage to 0. So the cool thing is you can actually run a full mix with a limiter through it, and it technically wouldn't boost or drop the signal. And that's how it was intended by design. So that specific one, I used to use it because it really does make a difference. Which is curious, right? Because typically I don't like the sound of that super upper mid pokey Neve sound. But
it could work for bussing.
It might work really well, especially if like a cleaner where it's just a little bit of that, which makes it give this sensation of loudness without actually getting too much louder. I wonder if that's good. Or like, again, the Warm Audio ones are like API based with all that flexibility. So I'm wondering. Yeah. So I know we have like the APIs in the studio. I might try that as well, just to see what it sounds like. And it's just very curious, very interesting. As far as like other plugins go, well, go ahead. What's up, Lou?
No, I was going to say, you might want to try the Audient that got added there, because it has the actual potentiometers for each type of transformer that it has, and you can blend how much you want of each.
Oh, that's right, the Audient.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good
the
call.
ASP 800. Yeah.
We might have to make a day out of it. That sounds like a fun thing to try, and then we can share our thoughts on the podcast another day.
Totally.
But let's move on to another plugin. Is there anything else that you've been using a lot more recently, whether it's a throwback or something totally new?
Actually, I've been reusing this on mixes. And I know I may get some hate for this. Not really. Let's be honest. Who hates the engineer? Everybody. No. But basically, Autotune Pro. I stopped using Pro for a while because, we're running an HDX system, or we were. I put us into HD native now. But in HDX, DSP plugins is a big topic and all that kind of stuff. And
so we use
Autotune
Autotune Hybrid, yeah.
Yeah, and I was using that for so long. And the funny thing is this, it doesn't have the formant button. I don't know if you're familiar or ever used the formant button.
I use it all the time on Artist. I use it all the time on Artist.
So you already know what it does, but just to reiterate, if you don't turn on the formant control on Autotune, when it pitches you up, it just moves you statically up. And that's okay to a point. If it moves you too much, the downside is your vocal tonality shifts with it. And because of that, when you enable the
Sorry, hold on. You're a little bit too far away from the mic. Come closer to the mic.
Am I?
Yeah, you dropped in volume significantly. So
Oh damn. No, you're all good. So basically, when you use Autotune and it's actually pitching you up or doing like hard pitching really fast, it's actually moving you in notation, sure, but it's not actually retaining your tonality, your throat length or anything in that. So when you actually use the formant control in Autotune and just leave it alone, it's actually auto compensating up and down your throat length as it pitches you. So as it pitches you up and you're a baritone, it's actually going to formant you down so that it sounds a little more natural and not like it just squeaked you up, and vice versa.
So this is just turning it on, right? This is not moving
No, you can move it and use it like little altar boy if you want. But
that makes
just
sense.
like turning it on, it's actually auto compensating for your own tonality.
That makes a lot of sense, because the reason why I turn it on the artist mode is because when I leave it off, every once in a while it adds like clicks and pops to the signal. But when I turn on the formant shifter button and not do anything with it, I just turn it on, all of a sudden those clicks and plops disappear.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny because like that was an Autotune Pro exclusive feature because of how much DSP it actually requires from your computer to actually do it. But because they were going for zero latency and hybrid, like I hadn't used it in a while. But now when people send me mixes, like let's say they're in EFX, thankfully they have a formant button. If they're using hybrid or what's the other one, the light version, Access, and there's one other version.
EFX.
But yeah, no, EFX has formant. It's actually automatically on EFX.
Is it automatically on Access?
No, it's not because it's not there.
I see.
Yeah, and on Pro, it's also not automatically on, but or on Live either. But that's kind of the funny thing. That's what I really like about the plugin. So I've been using it more specifically for the formant control. Like I've been using Artist and Hybrid mainly a lot, and EFX, but Pro's quickly becoming like a return to bass.
Yeah, I really like the formant shift. I think it's really underutilized. Last thing, maybe before we end the episode is Vocal EQ by Antares.
Yes.
I honestly think if you've been thinking about getting Surfer EQ,
just get Vocal EQ.
Just get Vocal EQ from Antares. It's so good. In fact, it may do it better. And there's even like an airband lift to it. Like if you have one EQ for vocal, that's not a bad one. I mean, FabFilter does everything. But it only goes up to like 22 hertz, so it doesn't quite do like the airband thing if you want to do that. And the point of it is not because we hear anything past 22 hertz. The point is that it's oversampled and you have a higher starting point, so the bell is smoother. The actual ramp is smoother. Mm-hmm. So that's the point. It's not actually to hear anything at 40K. But anyway, it feels great. It sounds good. It's pretty intuitive. It runs smooth, and that vocal pitch tracking is crazy. And like, yeah, the actual harmony or the resonant frequency or the resonance.
Yeah, harmonic.
Every harmonic you can track. It's crazy.
I really like it, especially because it follows the fundamental principle of Autotune itself. So if you wanted it to track the frequency content the same way that it tracks your vocal performance, that's exactly how it's doing it. And I don't know if you noticed, but there is kind of a mid-side function of it. It's not the easiest to access, but it's quickly been replacing my starting EQ for vocals and for other instruments. Like if you're doing like Wurlitzers or Rhodes, it's really good for helping you cut down or to create crazy effects.
Does it work on those instruments?
Yeah. It works really well.
So it does. So you not only does it pitch the lowest fundamental frequency or whatever harmonic you want to pitch it to. So like if you go down a couple whole notes, then it'll like actually correct and move the point. It follows it, but you can also make it dynamic.
Exactly. And that's what I love about it.
You can follow and make it dynamic. That's crazy. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if Surfer EQ does dynamic.
It does not.
So this is better.
It's limited to, so Surfer EQ is limited to 4 bands plus filters. The filters are very limited, so are the cues. I mean, let's be honest, the Surfer EQ has been around since I started. So it's been
I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, man.
Anyway,
I love Sound Radix. I'm a huge Sound Radix fan, but this is one that's been needing an update, and Antares has beat them to the punch.
Also, if you're listening and you want to get the Antares Vocal EQ, Antares is one of our sponsors. Just go to mixingmusicpodcast/Antares, or is it Autotune? Oh, man, I don't know.
It's AntaresTech.com.
Hold on, we got to get the link, though. Because, is it Autotune? I think it is mixingmusicpodcast.com/Autotune. There it is. Yeah, /Autotune. That'll take you to the Antares website through our link, which gives us a little kickback. And if they're offering any discounts, it's going to be through that link. So once again, that's mixingmusicpodcast.com/Autotune. We really, really love them and appreciate any sort of support. That plugin is worth it.
They literally saved me the other day.
And by the way, Autotune, if you didn't know this before, we could do a whole episode about this, but Autotune, when you use the Antares, the OG Autotune, it does sound different than when you use Waves Tune or anything else. It's so much better, and more importantly, it's like so much more familiar. Like the tone of it, the sound of it is way more familiar to people that are just casual listeners as well. So something feels a little bit off, and it feels a little bit cheaper if you use anything else. So that's just a professional opinion, but an opinion nonetheless. So there's definitely a tone that I really, really like with Autotune. So go check that out. mixingmusicpodcast.com/Autotune. On that note, let's end it here, Lou.
All right, let's do it.
Oh, what?
I was going to say, we did get a question, and I would say just shotgun it out. I would just say Relayer from UVI as far as delays. That's all I'll say. Just look up Relayer from UVI, and it's amazing.
Is that, someone in chat, live stream chat
they
said
said,
that?
hey, what about delay/reverb plugin? I'll be honest, I haven't changed much.
Valhalla for me, bro. Like, I've been using Valhalla. Valhalla is just so flexible. And if you tune in on my live streams as well, or like me mixing from scratch, you can screenshot and use all of my presets. I have bomb-ass presets me and Nels came up with.
I kid you not, like that Valhalla vintage verb, if anybody is doubting it because of its price point, I know for a fact the day I met Tizio for the first time years ago, we were setting up Chris Brown's studio, and I asked him, like, hey, we were asked to set up the plugins for you and everything. Like, what plugins do you need? And he's like, oh, just give me Pro Tools, Autotune, and Valhalla Vintage Verb, and that's it.
It's the one, baby.
If you are ever questioning and doubting it for being $50, like you're thinking about it all wrong.
It's like the best.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Please rate the show 5 stars or whatever on whatever platform. Please subscribe if you're on YouTube or Twitch. And happy mixing, my friends, and stay saucy.
Cool.
Recording stopped.
Yes, sir.
That's how it tells me.
Cool. Let me do this. I'm just renaming out some audio real quick.
J Rush 31.
All right. Let's call it a day. Is that cool?
Yeah, sure. That's cool.
Done. If you want to do a solo episode anyway,
sure.
Might as well do it, but I got to do some editing.
You're all good. I can just.
We got 14 people, 15 people right now viewing, so.
Yo, 15
hello, welcome.
people.
Because it shows me, in my OBS, it shows me how many people are watching from both YouTube and on Twitch. Hey, so if you're watching on YouTube, just follow me on Twitch. And if you're watching me on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube.
Yeah.
I've been releasing one extra YouTube video every week on top of the podcast. So I've been doing, so the one that I'm editing right now is top 5 pieces of gear I recommend for every home studio, including a headphone recommendation. Actually, the most important one I recommend is a UPS. Like an uninterrupted power supply.
Yep.
I did a headphone recommendation. I did a secondary monitor recommendation. Various other things. Things that you can buy on Amazon real easy and not too expensive. Maybe I should do the same thing, but like for less than $50, how to upgrade the studio.
Yeah, how to upgrade the studio for less than $50.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, that's actually a good one.
But anyway, that's something I've been trying. We got a bunch of stuff on the way, and I've been... I stream every night recently on playing video games. I've been playing this game.
Yeah, I noticed.
Like, I've been playing this game called Inscription Dog. It's a card game and plus escape room, and the less you know about it, the better. And because you got to just play it. It's really good. And there's like a story. It's like a story mode thing. So there's an end.
Let me ask you. Is it scary?
It's a thriller, but it never goes full horror.
Aw.
So there's moments where I'm like, ah! But it's not like any other, like, Five Nights at Freddy's. It's nothing like that. It's more like thriller. It's really good.
There's a game that I'm now re-curious to play on my PlayStation. I'll send it to you. It's thriller. It's not like jump scares or anything. There is one game that I really like that did have jump scares, but it's because the story was so good. But I'll figure out the name of this one. I'll send it to you. Honestly speaking, you could play it on PC, but it's one of those where it's like the dude is essentially in a psych ward and he's trying to figure out what's real and what's not.
Oh, hell no.
No, it's cool, but it's also one of those where like the scariest part of the game is sometimes like it forces you to walk into a really creepy space and you're like, you have to find the picture. It's like, damn, but the longer you stay there, the more things are happening in the background. And you're like, I don't want to go in. I don't want to go in.
By the way, let's do shout outs real quick.
All right, let's do it. I mean, I can't see it, so I'll leave this
hold
to
on,
you.
Yeah, hold on, give me a second.
He's the leader of the bunch. You know him well.
I brought this mug home. I love this one. This is my favorite one. This is a gift to me by Bob.
And now you gifted him. You put your mug on a mug that you gave to Bob.
Also. Two. He's the first member of the DK crew. Anyway, shout out to our newest subscribers to the exclusive episodes of the podcast. Actually, maybe we should wait till the next recording.
Maybe.
Or maybe I should add this in. No, let me add it in. Let me record it, actually. I'm going to add this into...
Do it.
And then place it. So I can play it. Before we begin this episode, I want to give a quick shout out to our newest subscribers of the exclusive episodes. Before we start this podcast episode, I want to give a quick shout out to all of our newest subscribers on our exclusive episodes. Shout out to Daniel Roberts, Alyssa Amy Hernandez, Antonio Malinowski, Andy Mitchell, Nicholas Butterworth, John Murphy, Alan Smith, Jake Reveal, Lassie Lindstrom, Cleo SP, Kenny Spolman, Tom Watts, Alex Couch, Max Ferguson, Manuel Marty, Tyler Libby, Caden Cottle, Joseph Newen, Philip Deli, Roderick Stoddart, 2, King Sound, Stefan Arsenovic, George Unfried, Steve Lyman, and Stephen Fellows. If you're interested in getting 3 times the amount of content, go to mixingmusicpodcast.com/exclusive to sign up for our exclusive episodes. There we go. With the DK Donkey Kong background. So I think we have like 27 active subscribers.
Actually, I'm not gonna lie. When this was like first an idea that you had, I was kind of like, Like, I know the Mixing Music podcast has been doing really well, but I have no idea how to gauge that. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to gauge something that just so happens to be doing well that you don't really know the full potential of.
It's true.
Like,
It's super
I don't know
passive.
how far podcasting can go. I don't know what's possible. I'm excited for it. I'm really excited to see what's possible, but I'm really happy to say that these people like us so much that this is even happening. Thank you to all 27 people.
Dude, it's crazy. It's just wild. Like, we started from nothing, and now we have 2,000 to 3,000 downloads per episode. It's wild, like how good we're doing.
Maybe that, I'm not going to say don't go away or anything, but I don't know if you know what today is.
August 1st? Oh!
It's our 2-year anniversary. How dare you forget our anniversary, DK?
That's right. No, that's why I said, because I remembered. Yeah, it's 2 years anniversary of starting the studio.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
We literally started also podcasting together around that time.
Yeah. I'm going to go to the studio, by the way, because I need to introduce myself to Coco, the producer there.
Yeah.
I've been doing all of his mixing and mastering. Well, not all of it, but almost all the stuff that he's been doing through this company. So I need to show my face.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I met one of them, and he has like jewelry in his teeth, not like a grill, but like I don't know if it's a diamond or not, but I was impressed. I looked at him and I was like immediately drawn to his teeth. Which anytime somebody says that about me, I'm just assuming that they're looking at my gaps. For him, it was like bling bling right on the teeth.
Time to go Colgate whitening, dude. I've been thinking about doing some like whitening strips or something like that.
I was just really impressed by like, yo, that looks like it hurt.
I think they're actually like stickers, if I'm not mistaken, or like super glue.
Well, I hope he doesn't swallow the sticker.
I know a couple people that have done that. If I'm thinking exactly what I'm thinking. But anyway, I'm going to get going, finish up this editing, finish up the podcast episodes. Appreciate it, Lou. Also, your camera looks way good.
Oh,
Let's test it out real quick. You should change the light in the back. Change it to something else. Just the one in the back. Can you do it?
Okay.
Stupid. Oh, what about the ones in the front? You got to keep the ones in the front white.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so let's do this. And then wasn't expecting that.
Hold on, wait a second.
Well, he just ran and slid on his head?
Yeah, hold on, wait a second. Watch this.
I like his reaction. He's like, whoa!
We're going to do our next podcast episode is just going to be like memes. We're just rating memes and we're just watching TikTok videos together. That's all it is. Have you seen this one? I've posted this one recently. I've been posting. I have a meme page on YouTube. I've been posting.
A meme page?
Yeah. I've been posting into it recently. Watch this.
That's not a dog. That's a dog.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
It's just impressive.
So how's this looking?
That looks way good.
Go brighter on the light. And...
Yeah, just switch colors too. But that looks way better.
Okay.
That way you get a little pop of color in the back.
Yeah. Oh wait, I could do this.
I'm
lollipop
tasty.
land.
What up, J Rush? What up, ASAP Roberts? What up, Chat? What up, Derek Brady? Hold on. We gotta get. If there's a song that we play that we get lit to, as far as like Switch music or Nintendo music in general, it's this one, dude. Wait a second. Where's it at? This is the one. Oh, wait a second. No. This is not the one. Hold on. Wait a second. Give me a second. This is the best song from Nintendo, Animal Crossing. All right, and on that note, happy mixing, my friends, and stay saucy!